Hello and welcome to Sestra-Tainment. I'm Lenora and she's Dee.
And I'm Dee.
I didn't know if she was going to say anything.
Yeah, I was going to say. So look, everybody, we are trying to figure out how to sync our voices. That's why it's sounding all weird today. Just letting you know, if anybody has any information that would be able to help us, please send us an email. And our email address is
sestras@sestra-tainment.com.
Yes. So if you know how we can get this together, how you all can help us out, we would greatly appreciate it. We will shout you out in the episode, be like, shout out to such and such, such and such, as such and such, such and such. So please, if you have any information, please give us a hand.
Yes, because we're realizing that it is, we're trying to do things differently so that we could do it for YouTube. And there's a little bit of a challenge from a perspective of Zoom, from a perspective of other platforms, if we are trying to do the video with the audio. So that's what our challenge is. It's either not going to be in sync or it is going to not play our music. And we know you all love our music. So there you go. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start it this week. And we were actually, funny enough, having that conversation about, like, right before the podcast about KevOnStage. So for those of you who don't know, that is a comedian. And he is out in California, but he is traveling around and he has been doing comedy for a while, but he's just starting to kick off. Like a lot of people, well, I'll say just starting to kick off on a more popular level, to the point that now people are creating like memes about him and they're like dressing up like him for Halloween and different things like that, right? I even saw somebody doing their video, kind of like with Keith Lee. People will do their video and act like they're Keith Lee. Well, somebody did a video and acted like they were KevOnStage, and people will send them messages on KevOnStage sightings because it's other bald-headed, bigger guys, because he's always talking about being 270. I'm 270. You know, he's always doing that. And so based on
270.
Yep. Yeah, I guarantee you he's lost weight. So I don't know why he's still saying 270, but he's still saying 270. But anyway, so based on that, there was this big, I don't know if it's a brouhaha, I guess, a little bit in the church because of the fact that he went, go ahead.
Actually, he said that he was getting it from both sides.
Oh,
I'm hearing it from the queer people, and they're just like, so is it that you love the Lord or like you love us? Like where are you at? And is this real? Is he just saying that because now
people don't even know the context? Well, I was going to say people don't know the context in general. You're trying to explain.
I'm just saying it's not just the church going at him. It's both sides.
Right. But they don't know what the both sides are yet. So let's tell them what the both sides are. So for this, he went on Cam Newton's podcast and was basically explaining about, church, Black church specifically. So he was saying the story about how his brother, when his brother was living, because I think this is the brother that's passed away. I think it was only the two of them. And so his brother had fathered quite a number of children outside of wedlock. So in his mind, he's like, well, the church should see that as a sin. You are not maybe even providing for these kids. You're bringing the kids from out of wedlock to church sometimes. You only come to church when you want to feel like it, like all these different things. And so he was saying that everybody at the church still loved him though. So they nurtured him. They loved him to the point that they were loving on him so much. He stopped coming just sporadically to, all right, he's there, every other week instead of once a month. Then he moved to being there every week. Then he moved to actually participating in the church and doing something within the church, like as a ministry to people within the church, but not really a ministry, more like youth church or something, something he was doing to serve within the church. And so based on that, he was like, it's very interesting how church folk will treat someone who is living in sin, even though if it's somebody like in that scenario. However, if you're LGBTQIA, or as my sister would say, what's your terminology?
LGBTQI.
then you would actually be shunned and you would be talked about and you would be persecuted and you would be made to feel as though you're not welcomed within the church. So he gave 2 examples of a person who was coming to the church, was forced by, I think, her grandmother to come into the church. And then when she was finally old enough to not go to church anymore, she was like, I am out. And she might never see a church again. Now, how do you get people closer to the Lord if you shun them, right? Then the other side to it is that there was this gentleman who was invited by Kev to come to summer church. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, where did he go? I don't know where he's at. And come to find out, a deacon had pulled him to the side. And basically, I forgot, what did he say to him?
He was just like, basically, you're gay, it's a sin, and you need to stop, and you need to do better. Basically, and telling them, like, you need to come to the Lord. Dude was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to come in here where you just telling me that I'm less than.
Right. Exactly. So now you took a person who was very involved and wanted to be there and felt welcomed and all of that, and then switched it around and made it where they no longer felt that way. So anyway, after KevOnStage had this conversation, all of a sudden the internet, and like my sister was saying, he was getting it from both sides, where it was people who were religious people who were frustrated with his comments and like, how can you love the Lord, but you are saying that this particular sin is okay? And then, you know, because if you think about it, sin is sin. And it's no one sin worse than the other sin, other than, at least from my reading and interpretation of the Bible, is the sin of you putting any other God before him. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you do that, then yeah, you're committing the ultimate sin if you are a person of Christian faith. However, they're acting like, oh no, you having all these kids out of wedlock and committing adultery, maybe laying with somebody else's wife. You don't know what kind of sins they were going on.
Correct.
That we're not going to pay attention to, because that's what people do. Men do that. We're not going to even pay attention to that sin. But if you lay with the same person, now Sodom and Gomorrah up in here, and we can't have that, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh, like what is happening here? And, you know, and even when you read the small part of the Bible that covers Sodom and Gomorrah, it does not go into the depth and detail that people in the churches push you to believe that it goes into. It really doesn't. It's just, it's really strange. So anyway, I say that to say, KevOnStage, as my sister was saying, is getting kind of frustrations, let's say.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of, what's the word, flack? Is it flack?
Yeah. So, and what are the Jabitaqua saying?
So, I mean, for the most part, I think that my people are saying like, okay, yeah, we get what you're saying. We get where you're coming from. But he does do a podcast. KevOnStage does do a podcast, and it's called Here's the Thing. It's him, that chick Angel, and Spanish guy Joshy Gonzalez. Now, with their podcast, when he was trying to explain it, Angel was saying that they were recording, they were filming something that Kevin has coming up. Something called The Airport. It's a show that he has coming up or something like that. And as they're talking about that, she said, I look over and I see my friend just on the phone, like just randomly like putting out messages, like not putting out messages, but like responding to what people were saying to him. And she was just like, stop. Like, why do you care about what other people think? She was like, because then that just gets you back in the place where you was trying to get out of in the first place. Mm-hmm. So with all of that, he was saying that majority of the LGBTQIA were saying that, you know, okay, you know, we appreciate you, thank you. But then some of them were like, see, I don't even know if he means that, or is he just trying to save his followers and his fans? But then he broke it all down in his last episode of Here's the Thing, where he was saying basically, look, I love the Lord. I definitely see the hypocrisy that is in the church. He was like, I remember when I was younger, somebody was telling me, you know, he said it was a trustee that told him, you know, you really don't have to tithe. And he was like, yes, I do have to tithe, because if I don't tithe, then my car is going to break down. And he was just, and then he said that they were looking at him like, you have a 1980 something car. It's going to break down anyway. You don't change the oil. is going to break down anyway. So he said that it was small things that he just kept getting from the church that kind of made him like have a little disconnect, a little gapping him a little bit. Now he said that that probably that is not gapping him from God. That is that's gapping him from the church, like the actual physical place and the people that are dwelling within it.
Right.
That is where he had that gap. And that's what he's trying to explain. He's like, hey, look, this is the stuff that happens. They're saying that this is okay and this is okay. I don't think it's okay. And this is my opinion. And this is what I'm trying to say. But he said that there are a lot of people in the church community that are just like, yeah, he said that he's had preachers come to him and be like, yeah, man, I agree with everything you say, but I can't say that because, it's not going to be good for my church and for me. And he's just like, well, you should just go ahead and say it and be yourself. Because now you just lying to your people when you preaching about homosexuality.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically just breaks all of that down in his thing that he was just recently talking about. Well, and here's the thing. Now, I will say that when he was talking about his friend, because I did take some notes, because I'm trying to do better at speaking at the same time, so people can hear us. Now we got this little audio visual issue. But when he was talking about his the kid that he brought to church, and that issue right there with the deacon pulling him to the side, I also had something similar to me that happened where it was like I was coming to church and I present masculine. So it was like, why is the preacher every time you see me in church gonna be like, well, now I had this sermon, but now something is laid on my heart that I need to talk about this. And it's always homosexuality. You want to come up to me, put your arm around me, try to pull me out the pew to bring me up to have altar calls. So, bro, you doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
Why you gotta bring it and do it in front of everybody? If you really want to talk to me, you could have pulled me to the side and talk to me. Now I speak and I'm cordial with that person, but we have nothing to talk about. You were trying to have a gain for yourself while pushing me down. No, I couldn't do that. And then also I remember I was telling you how me and Dad are starting to get closer about learning each other, me learning him. So I was telling him that how I see it with religion and like with the church. I told him exactly what happened with the preachers and everything. And I said, but also, why would I want to be part of a religion that tells me that I'm less than, I am no good, I'm a sinner, I'll never get into the gates of heaven. But I can do everything else in the world right. But that sin makes me go to hell. Now, with that being said, they say you can repent for your sins. But so if I repent, I'm just going to be lonely and unhappy. And that will just definitely come out on everybody around me. So now I'm multi-sinning while I have this one thing that I got under control. Right. That I'm not showing homosexuality anymore. So it's like me explaining to my dad, it's like, it's not something that I can control. This is me. Like I don't lay with no man. Like, I'm allergic. Don't stop. In a way. Yeah, it's like, no, and I can't repent and say, no, Lord, I'm never going to do it again. Please forgive me.
But the other side to that is God made you who you are. If you believe in God doing everything that God does, then he made you who you are, whether it is for people who say, I was born this way, because some people are like, I was born this way. And some people are like, through circumstances and situations, this is where I am. And this is where I feel most comfortable and most myself. So if you are made that way in the image and likeness, as they say, of God, because that's what all of us are supposed to be, made in the image and likeness of God. We are all King's kids. We're all God's children. So therefore, why subject your child to something that they had control over? Do you know what I mean? Like, in other words, it's like, okay, here is your calling and your task and what you are, the way in which you are meant to live. And for me personally, I feel like people are hypocritical when they pick and choose. So it's like, oh, well, this sin horrible, terrible, whatever. But you're not supposed to eat shellfish either. Like, you're not supposed to eat shrimp. So
let me tell you, everything that's in Leviticus, if you got mixed wool, don't be wearing polyester and cotton together, you're going to hell. Don't sleep in the same bed with your wife while she's on her period, you're going to hell. Mm-hmm. Oh, don't eat anything that does not have scales. All of us are going to hell. Because I will tear up a crab leg, a lobster, some shrimp. Right. I'm going to tear it up.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's where I'm like, why is it that certain things everybody picks? And then you have, okay, the 10 commandments, right? But then you have people who are adulterers, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, so you coveted your neighbor's wife and what? And you're the one who is telling other people. There are literally pastors of churches who have coveted other people and had relationships outside of their marriage, and yet can still pastor the church, can still tell and demean other people for their sins, even though they have had a sin, because in their mind, as long as I say I repent and God, maybe they get rebaptized, whatever the case may be. Okay, now I am cleansed of all of my wrongdoings and I will have, the ability to get into heaven. I don't know. It's just very hypocritical.
It was funny because Kev had also said, he was like, like when they took my brother in, he showed up with a little chocolate baby that looked he said, chocolate baby looked like Jason in the face, but just a 5-year-old Jason. And he was just like, hey man, who's this? This is your son? He was like, yeah, I got a son. He was like, well, why didn't you tell us? And he was just like, yeah, I don't know, but this is my son, and he's 5. Well, he has another son with somebody. I don't know if it was somebody he was married to or whatever, that was like 17 years old. And then he said to him, he said, hey, yeah, can you, I gotta go out of town. So you think you can watch the little 5-year-old for a little while for me while I go? He's like, brother, you just bring the baby into church. We never seen the baby before. Didn't know the baby exists.
I don't know this kid.
Yeah, I don't know this kid. The baby, look, he said the kid got your face, but we don't know him. Yeah, so it was just saying like, but he was still embraced. But then it's like somebody comes and he said that his brother's son. That's what it was. He said that his brother's oldest son, he graduated from high school. He came out, he was like 16. He came out the closet. And he said, my brother Jason, his brother has passed away. So it was like when his brother was like, oh yeah, such and such is gay. And it was like, okay, yeah, we already knew that. He was like, oh, okay, well, I just want to let you know he's out the closet gay. So now we don't have to whisper behind his back about things. But it was just, Kevin said that KevOnStage said the thing that changed him tremendously, because he was with all of that. Well, not with all of it, but he was like, I don't stay away from like that whole homosexuality thing. But he said when he had his first son and he's looking at his baby, he said, I could never deny this child my love because he want to love another man. Absolutely not. That's out the window. That's it. I don't care what the Bible says. This is my baby. I'm going to love my baby.
It's unconditional love, no matter what. Yes, exactly. And the other side I was going to say too, to what we were talking about is those same people who are upset about people being in the church who are gay are okay with the choir director being gay.
That's what I'm saying.
The lead musician being gay, because in a lot of churches that happens to be the case. Because
I don't know a church where that's not the case besides Mom's church, but then there's the piano player, or that might be the guitar player, or that might be
anybody.
Tambourine.
It's going to be somebody who is participating in the choir, in the church, like somewhere that
in the music.
And it's not, this is the difference, I guess, is it's not going to be openly said, right? So that person has to be in the church and can be flamboyant if they want to, can be in a relationship that nobody talks about in the church, and they could be living with somebody, they could be married, maybe, I don't know, but nobody can talk about it within the church, because of the fact that once you even probably say it out loud, it's kind of like don't ask, don't tell in the military, that once you say it out loud, now, we got to do something about it. Now we know for sure.
But you know what? That makes sense, because all the time that I was in church trying to pray the gay away, and I was what they call an armor bearer for like the pastor's wife or whatever, and helping them out. Once I stopped doing that, then it's okay. I need to go ahead. I had this sermon prepared, because they on my heart.
But the reason is that if you are actively participating, in some people's minds, I think it is we're getting them closer to God. Mm-hmm. And therefore closer to seeing the error in their ways. Like, I think that's just the mentality, is that you doing this means that, well, it could be two things. It could be that, like, oh, you're getting closer to God, or, well, as long as you're serving in the church, as long as you're serving and filling a void, then we won't say anything, because once you're gone, then what am I going to do? Like, who's that person going to be? Who's going to step into that role? So I don't know. That's interesting.
But I do have another thing. I'm thinking like, okay, so did I lose it? Wait, no, I have it. It's still there. It's there. I lost it. Dang on it. ADHD for the win.
It'll come back. But but it was something about the church and them, like the musical directors and things like that. I thought that I saw something.
Yeah, no, it was something. Oh God, I lost it. I don't know. Okay. My brain was going in so many different places, but also trying to listen to you at the same time. So ADHD was like, it's not gonna hold.
I told you that if we can't talk over each other, we need to take down notes.
I took down notes. But then I raised my finger, I was about to say something, but then I saw you was deep in your thoughts. So then
So that's what I'm saying. In that moment, you're going to have to take a note. Like, oh, she's deep in her thought.
But then I wanted to be present in what you were saying, though. So I can't be present and take notes at the same time.
When are you ever present with what I'm saying?
I am present with what you're saying.
I'm joking.
What are you talking about? Just because I don't listen doesn't mean I can't hear you.
Got it.
I'm trying to be present. Eckhart Tolleing it all.
Eckhart Tolle. Okay, got it. Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, I got you. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, I will say that in regards to, I know what I was saying, though. That was when I was saying that when you are in servitude to the church, or when you are someone who, because of the fact that you are doing something within the church, because it made it look like that was the thing that had populated.
Well, I mean, I knew
like you're doing something for the church, and therefore it was almost like you may have had a counterpart point to what
I did, but then there was something else that was more. There was more there, and then that thought went to something else because you started saying something else. But I know one of the parts that I was going to say that wasn't the main thing that I wanted to say was that most of the gospel artists that are males are out there.
Are they? I mean, I'll put it this way. I was going to say, I know that there are a lot that people rumor about.
Yeah.
Versus, I mean, and even pastors for that matter.
Yeah.
So, I didn't, but now that you said on the low, but I think Donnie McClurkin is the only one that was like, I was on that side. Now I'm back on this side. Now I don't know what side he's on now. So anyway.
Okay. I know, but I know there's a lot of them that I was like, I see the way when you clapping. And
what you said, they could just have a feminine energy.
That is very, very, very feminine. But maybe I cannot say.
Yeah. Well, this brings up another topic. Maybe this is just going to be a whole LGBTQIA.
Yeah, let's do it.
But there was this gentleman who he was saying that he was in his relationship, or maybe his baby mama said, you know what, the guys in the neighborhood think that you're gay. And actually KevOnStage covered this too. Okay. So they were like, the guys in the neighborhood think you're gay. And he was like, me? How? Why? Like he was like, and his voice got all elevated and everything. And so he was like, I'm not gay. I mean, I'm the father of your child. And, I've had, only relationships with women. He said, but the difference is that I feel like some guys are so thug, right? Mm-hmm. They're so tough. They're so hard. They're so thug that any guy who is just like, No, I might be a little sensitive. I might cry every now and then. I might, I want to open the door for the person that I'm dating. And I want to, do some things that other guys are like, no, what are you doing that for? Like, what's up? Like, you shouldn't even have to feel like you need to do da 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 da, or don't cry, And he said, it's the difference between, he said, him having a father.
That's right. That's what
those guys might not have a father. And so he said, basically, his dad, whenever he would cry or anything would happen, he said he had the dad that would bring him over to the side and give him a hug and tell him it's going to be okay, and kiss his boo-boo and kiss him on the forehead and all that. You're going to be all right. It's okay. Like, get it out, but you're going to be fine. And would let him cry and all of that. He said, now you might have somebody else that either didn't have a father. If they did have a father, it was more like, boy, what are you crying for? Wipe them tears. You ain't supposed to be crying. Da, 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 And he was just saying that that's the difference. And so it went into Kev talking about, hey, I have a father who still kisses me on the forehead when I see him. And I am, what is he? I don't know, 40 years old, something. I don't know.
He's 45. I think he's 45.
And so, but basically he was like, I would say that you are a reflection of how you are raised if you have a father in your life and how that father treats you as a son. So if your father is hugging and nurturing and supportive and there for you and all of that, you're probably not going to come up as that, what's up? How you doing? Like all up in somebody's face, because it's like, no, I was nurtured. I was able to talk through my feelings. I didn't feel like I had to fight all the time.
I had emotions.
That I could express.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing, versus people who have emotions and they can't express them, or they were told to bury them. And then you wonder why people blow up and they fight and they shoot somebody or stab somebody or whatever. And it's like, you were never, like, it was bottled up for how many years? Like, you were never able to really fully feel comfortable enough to do that. And then the unfortunate side to that is now you have some women who are like, if he cries, it's over. I can't be with no man who cries. And I'm like, so you don't want somebody who can express themselves and their emotions like you can express yourself and your emotions? That doesn't make sense. And it seems like you are perpetuating that, because if you won't date a person like that, you're also not going to raise a son who's like that. And you're not going to, if you're even a single mom, raise a son who can express themselves. Now, you might raise a spoiled son, because that's one thing that they do say, especially the Black women and Hispanic women do, is they'll raise a spoiled boy. Or
they will raise a son to replace the man that they didn't have.
Yes. It's like, exactly. Yeah. So I'm raising you to be who
I wanted. Yeah. I'm raising you to be the man that I wanted to date.
Right. But that's not necessarily, I mean, of course, not a healthy thing, but also not going to be healthy for the next woman who's going to date your son, because what you wanted may not be what everybody wanted. And you might want that guy who's going to be like, what you doing? And now you're going to raise your son to be tough, and you beat his butt and you and then it's like, because that's what I would have wanted. But it's like, but is that the right thing? Is that the healthy thing?
Yeah, that is true. And then all you're doing is you're thinking that you're fixing one generational curse, but then you're just starting another one. You're just starting another one, because it's like, okay, maybe your father might have been the sensitive type, and your mom might have been the one who was just like, I wish you would pull your pants up and be a man. You sit down when you pee, that kind of thing. Yeah. But then you are trying to raise your son to be the opposite, and now your son is a person who is beating up his girlfriend, and you showing up at the girlfriend's house mad at her because why you make him so mad that he beat you up?
Oh my God.
What?
Can't even.
No, you don't put your hands on each other. Just don't.
Right. Don't do it. Both sides. Nobody puts their hands on each other.
Yeah. So now you think you're fixing one thing, and then the next generation is going to be jacked up for that. And then they're going to teach their child that, and that child's got to fix that. Or else they're just going to continue that generational curse. So it's just like, bro, I don't know. People just mind your business.
Yeah.
If you have a kid, let them be a kid.
Yeah. Another theory of the church, as we're on this topic still 30 minutes in almost, is that some people said the reason the church is so adverse to gay people being in the church is of two reasons. I had never in my life heard of these two reasons. One, evangelical preachers. So they said that when World War II broke out, it was going to be all these men going to war for a long time. And they had different preachers to go out on those USO tours and stuff like that, evangelical preachers to go out on those tours. And when they went out on those tours, they taught that homosexuality was the worst curse that you could possibly do because of the fact that these men were away from women for so long.
They want them sword fighting.
They did not want them to go to the other side while at war. So therefore, they had really instilled like no abstinence, celibacy, no homosexuality stuff. Because you got to think they may have known what could have took place in prisons to say, if you got this many men all together, then what's going to take place in a war setting for years on end, while the women are running all the machines now and the women are stepping into all these roles that the men had. Now we got to say, okay, y'all both sides, y'all need to just don't
look. Just because you can weld doesn't mean that you need to be with her because she's a seamstress,
or just because
you women sit down,
right? And just because you are here at war for all this amount of time and you are lonely, and we know how men. It probably was more about the men than it was about the women.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
But it's like we know how y'all are. Then let's go ahead and just say that this would be the ultimate sin is you doing this, right?
I will tell you this.
I never had heard that before.
Oh, yeah. I will tell you this, and then you can go to your second point. But I will tell you this. When I meet like new guys and it's just like, hey, how you doing? You know, it's either they're trying to sleep with me or they're mad because they
can't sleep with you.
Yeah. But then it's like, what makes you think that you look like a rapist talking to me right now? Like, I could do this to you. I can blah, blah, blah. Sir, what? Like, why are you so angry? Because I don't want you. I don't understand that. And how did your mama raise you? How'd your daddy raise you?
Well,
don't procreate. Jesus.
Men by nature are hunters, right? That's just that. I mean, I'm just saying for women who look like me, men are hunters by nature. Whenever I have in the past made myself totally unavailable is when they tried the absolute hardest and spent the most money, did the most outrageous things. And it was like, I don't want you. I'm not interested. One tried for a year. And I'm like, I don't know what else to say other than I am not interested. That it's the challenge of it. It's the hunt and the chase in their minds. It doesn't matter if the woman cares about
No. They'll be mad. They'll be mad at me. They're wanting to like that's what I said. It's like you're coming at me like you're a rapist because it's like if I won't willingly give it to you, you are going to take it. But
they think also, I think for a lesbian, potentially some men, I don't know who raised them, like you said, or where they come from, but it's like I could change her. I could change. But you have women who think the same thing about men, like not necessarily gay men, I don't think, but I think that women feel that way about. He's just out here in these streets. He just needs a right woman like me, and I'm gonna change him because women are nurturing. So when you have women who are nurturing and they find someone who's broken, they are going to want to fix them. They are going to want to give them all that they have in order for them to get them, to change and to be what they see the potential in them to be. And then men, I think, are the opposite way because they are so, like I said, hunters and barbaric by nature in some degrees without probably good grooming and training. So therefore, it's like, okay, this is the aggressiveness of this man who is like, yeah, I can fix this. Like, just give me the opportunity. I'm gonna fix it. You're gonna be all right. You just ain't had the right one yet, and I got you. And it's like,
I don't know. I don't actually think that's what it is. They want a lesbian because they don't think that a lesbian has had actual pee. And with that being said, they also think that it is going to be like taking someone's virginity to where it is going to feel better for them.
That's a possibility.
I had a dude actually tell me that. And I said, you know what? That makes sense. But if I'm dressed like a man, then that tells me that you want a little feminine man. That's what that tells me.
You want a man. Why are you even coming at me when you got this girl over here?
We got matching do-rags on.
You got this woman over here with the long lashes, all voluptuous skirt on, and you coming to me? Like, me? Why are you coming to me? Right. Yeah, that's maybe telling more about them.
Yeah, you like boys.
They're the ones that go over to the Philippines.
Oh, yeah. They want to go to Thailand, to Bangkok.
Oh, yeah, Thailand, yeah.
To Bangkok, yes.
Yeah.
Where you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't glad.
And they have proud lady boys over there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So there you go. Maybe that's where they would want to go. So, yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, that's just the whole thing. But what was your second thing that you said that you think that the homosexuality was a thing where it actually came from? You said the evangelical.
I remember. I've forgotten for half a second though. I remember now. The other reason why, so one was the evangelicals and the war and them trying to stop men from having sex with each other and women for that matter. But the other thing was that for slavery, what the masters would do for the biggest and baddest slave is break them through sexuality. And, and for Africans, they were like, I don't even know what this thing is. Like, what are we even talking about? Yeah. Like, what are y'all trying to say here? And so therefore they would publicly basically sodomize them in front of their wife, their children, whoever, it didn't matter, but to break them down. And therefore some people like that historically has just been passed down from church to church and member to member and people to people to the point that they are like, okay, well, this is a really, really bad sin because it's not only seeped in evil, it's seeped in breaking a person, and it seeped in something that wasn't even natural to our people before getting here, so to speak. And so anyway, I don't know how true any of these things are, but that's kind of, and some people in the comments were saying, oh yeah, I remember my grandmother saying that, like, that's why she felt so passionate about homosexuality being such a bad sin was because of what was, forced on people who were, enslaved. And so I was just like, wow, I hadn't heard of I've heard of, breaking a buck or whatever they would call it, but I didn't know of it being specifically tied to anything regarding homosexuality within the church.
So another thing that KevOnStage did say was that homosexuality, how they're taking it from the Bible, but actually what it was you're trying to take a language and translate it to another language, and the words are not going to meet up. Because I can ask one of my Spanish friends, like, yo, how do you say such and such? So I can just go cuss this person out. They'd be like, oh, that doesn't even translate.
Right.
And I'm like, all right, well, what's the closest I can get to it? So that's what it was. So in 1946, the Revised Standard Version of the Bible came out, and it had made the scholars then. So that's when the World War II was out. And that is when all of that changed. But it's how it was said in other Bibles and other religions, and people who speak in multiple languages who have read it from like in different languages have said, no, they were saying like, don't be messing with little kids. Like, men should not mess with kids. You find a wife, you find a good thing. You don't go and you mess with children. You don't go and mess with boys. That is not for you. So that's when it changed, like what you said with the World War II. So, but yeah, it's just it's just like, why does anybody in the church worried about what I do at home? Because I ain't worried about you stopping to get your lottery tickets because you ain't supposed to be gambling,
or you coming into church smelling like alcohol.
Absolutely, yeah. Or you coming into church and you got your wife sitting on the front pew, but your girlfriend sitting in the back pew.
And that's who you were with last night, Saturday night, hanging out. Yeah. You were with your girlfriend hanging out Saturday night.
Yeah. So it's just like, bro, you know what? That's what you want to do. You horrible human being for that. But you do that on your own. I don't care about that. That ain't got nothing to do with me. So therefore, what happens in my home has nothing to do with you. Yeah. It's between me and the Lord. So therefore, why are you in it?
He who has not sinned, cast the first stone. And
everybody throwing stone.
Look, and don't look at, what is it, the speck in somebody else's eye, and you're not paying attention to the log in your own.
See, I didn't even know that, but that was beautiful.
Yes, it's in the Bible.
It was beautiful. Yeah, but no, I mean, I do know the throwing stones.
Yeah, but no, it's like, but the other part, yeah, it's like, who are we to judge, first and foremost? Exactly. And that's why somebody, people say all the time, like, you can't judge me. The only person who can judge me is the Lord. So therefore, everything that I do, it's about my relationship with him. And that's why I think so many people are like, no, I am spiritual. I'm not religious.
Correct. Because you have a relationship,
exactly.
Not have a relationship with the people. Like, I don't have to, in order for me to know God, I don't have to be around nobody else.
No.
I just get my Bible. Flip the page. Yep, flip the page.
And for some people, it's not even about the Bible as much, because again, what was interpreted or misinterpreted
Correct.
based on that, you know what I mean? So it's about the relationship. Now, I am someone who has read the Bible from cover to cover. I did that in 1 year. I challenged myself. I had a chronological 1-year Bible, and I read that every day so that I can make it all the way through. And I'm a person also who, when I was in college, I almost went into like a religious studies, because I was like, so is it just because I was born where I was born, this is my religion? But like, and if they're saying that, well, if you don't believe in something, then you go to hell, or you whatever, you perish. And I'm like, so if I were Buddhist, what happens? If I were Muslim, what happens? Like, so I was very curious about all of those things. And instead, what I just have chosen to always believe is whatever you believe is, in my opinion, what you experience when you go. So if you are somebody who believes, okay, I get reincarnated. Okay, well, maybe that's what happens when you go. And that's between you and God. I mean, or you and whoever. I don't have nothing to say with that. Why are you laughing?
The funniest thing would be all these preachers that are like, sexuality is a sin, and they get reincarnated as a gay man, as a bottom. That would be, isn't it ironic?
For some people,
that's a full Alanis Morissette song right there.
Oh my gosh, I don't know, but yeah, it does make you wonder what you most judge other people for, if you believe in reincarnation, if that is what could potentially happen. I know that
be why people are born, because it's like, well, in a past life, you was talking a lot of garbage about the homosexuals, so now, and that's like, you're going to
experience it so that you are more compassionate in the life after that.
Correct.
It could be that. You never know. You never, ever know.
Because I do sometimes feel like a little old man.
Oh, really?
Sometimes I do. And I say something, I'm like, oh, God, why do I sound like a little old man? Like I have a cigarette hanging out my mouth saying something. Every time I talk, it just wiggles. You've
always been older than your age in regards to your thought process. And, and a lot of times we always just attributed it to, oh, well, our parents were older when they had you. So therefore, you were just around people who were more so in their late 30s and 40s, as opposed to people who were in their 20s, like some, like I was when mom and dad had me. So,
yeah, but like my playlist of music is very jazzy. Or it's 1970s and 80s. I don't even care about 90s, 2000, 2010, 2020. Give me the 70s, 80s, and then it's something about that time. Minnie Riperton? What? Me getting into all Minnie Riperton songs? What? She nasty, and I like it. The way that because you can't talk about hood rat, hoochie mama when she said, "You can see inside me. Won't you come inside me? Do you want to ride?" Inside my love, but that's okay.
Well, because it's the innuendo of it all.
That's not an innuendo.
But it is. But back then, I'm gonna tell you this, because I lived in the 70s a little bit, but I would say back then it was like it wasn't really. It wasn't necessarily innuendo as much as it was. You could listen to it and like the beat of it and the sound of it, and not even pay attention to the fact of what the words were even saying. So you know what I mean? So you're just like, oh, like for example, the song Juicy Fruit. Like you would hear the song and there are people who were like, oh, it's just, the gum, or
yeah. It's just so melodic.
Yeah, exactly. And you're just jamming to the song, but you're not paying attention. And then it's like songs that we've heard, and then somebody put on, like they'll put on TikTok all the time. Did y'all pay attention to the words of these songs? And then when you hear it again, you're like, oh my God, I had no idea that they were saying. Now, and with the difference is the music today, it's just like, they're literally like saying what WAP stands for, as opposed to just saying WAP. It's like, oh no, we gonna tell you so what. Whatever, you know, and it's like, oh, y'all just leave nothing to the imagination.
Yeah, okay. Well, I get what you're saying, because it's kind of like Nelly. We going down, down, baby, your street in a Range Rover, street sweeper, baby, cop ready to let it roll. Shimmy, like what?
Oh, I had no idea that's what he was saying.
He's talking about doing a drive-by on somebody.
No idea.
Yeah, we going down, down, baby, your street in the Range Rover, street sweeper, baby, cop ready to let it go. Shimmy, shimmy, cocoa, what? Listen to me now. Light it up and take a puff, pass it to me now. But I'm saying, like,
I knew the light it up and pass it to me, but I didn't even know. First of all, I didn't even know those were the words. I didn't know those.
Down the street in the Range Rover, and I got my gun cocked, ready to let it go. And it's like, you know, like itchy ditchy ice cream, itchy ditchy out. Like, who am I going to shoot?
I had no idea that. No, I'm just saying I had no idea those were even the words.
But then it's like what you were saying with this, like an innuendo. It put it full circle for me.
Yeah. He didn't say, I got my cock ready to blow some people up on the street.
Like yeah. He wasn't NWA with it, but he was definitely he was very much Minnie Riperton with it. M2.
He was very much Barry White with it. Because Barry White would have some innuendos up in there.
Oh yeah, exactly. So I get that. But yeah, that was my whole thing. Sometimes I feel like a little old man.
Oh, little old man. Yeah, but I guess, you know, because I guess we got on that topic because we're all over the place, but we got on that topic because of the fact that we were talking about just, you know, religion and beliefs and everything and misinterpretations and all that. Because going back to the Sodom and Gomorrah thing, when I read it, and I had to reread it recently because I was like, did I miss something? But it's basically some angels show up at Lot's house. Okay. Lot is like, don't hang out outside, come inside. Like it's more safer for you to come inside. Yeah. These men are outside and say, bring them angels out here. We want to have sex with them. Yeah. That's what was happening. And then God basically told them to get out of Sodom and Gomorrah because I'm going to burn the whole city down. You have to leave. Lot, his wife, the children, the angels. So, you know, y'all leave. And when they left, they said, don't look back. And therefore, when his wife looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. Right? So my assumption is that your interpretation of Sodom and Gomorrah is that is a place where anything goes. It's any activity whatsoever. It's good. It's bad. It's evil. It's this. So it's almost like it's not about the sex. It's about the evil. Like you're burning down a city of evil. There are evil people here. You are good. You took some angels who were outside and said, come in here. I'm going to protect you. And because you're good, I'm giving you the opportunity to go ahead and save yourself, save your family. But don't look back on this evil, because looking back on the evil when I'm trying to save you is kind of a spit in my face. So therefore, keep going forward. Okay.
What if Lot's wife didn't turn into a pillar of salt? She was just salty because she had to leave. That's the innuendo.
Stay in the evil.
But I was having fun. No, we was outside. No, and she looked back and she like, I'm just salty though. Like,
well, she was true salt. She was true salt. Yeah. And so, but that's kind of, you know, to me, it's like, is it really about what they were trying to do? Why it was all burnt down? Or was it truly, no, we're just gonna go ahead and get you out. And because we're getting you out and these people are so evil, my angels are there and they're trying to corrupt them. And, you know, they're being evil. And therefore, we're going to get rid of this city. And then it led me to believe, once I heard about the evangelicals, who said the angels were male, female?
I was about to say that because I thought angels didn't have a sex. And I thought angels were the most beautiful divine creatures ever. So therefore, it could be that a man and a woman would look at him and be like, how do I not know that Lot and his wife was like, no, y'all come on inside.
Well, obviously not. If they were, hopefully, if they were saved, it was because they weren't those types of people. But you never know. You never know. Yeah. But that's where I was going to say. But in the various versions, because I looked back through different versions, and in the various versions, it says those angels that are men, like those men, bring those men out here. And I was like, but that's weird. Like, how do you know the angels are men? So that's where I said the evangelicals could have gotten in there and just said everywhere that there is, like, the Sodom and Gomorrah story is the biggest story that everybody goes back to. So at some point you do have to put something in there to say that these were men wanting to have sex with men. So therefore we have to put that in there. But I don't know. I could be wrong. I am not a theologian by any stretch of the imagination. I am just an average person who's read the Bible from start to finish, and an average person who my sister is now pointing to something she got.
I got some info because this makes sense of what we were saying. Because I just asked, do angels have a gender in the Bible? According to Google and the AI overview, they do not have biological gender or reproduce. They appear as men in scripture, but they do not have a gender. So therefore, they probably look like Ken and Barbie downstairs.
It's very possible. It's very
closed up, not open for business. Like a whole bunch of people is going to be upset.
Right. And if it's all interpretation anyway, it's almost like how you said, you ask a friend to interpret and they're like, there's no real way to interpret that. If all of this was written in other, you know, in Hebrew, basically, or whatever, then the interpretation could be very different depending on who is interpreting it. Because think about it. I have two friends who are Hispanic. Mm-hmm. One's from Honduras. The other one's from Costa Rica.
Okay.
They can't even understand each other in the language and the dialect of Spain. Yeah. You know what I mean? Of the Spanish language. So therefore, it's like if you're from Spain, if you're from Honduras, if you're from the Dominican Republic, or if you're from Mexico, or if you're from, you know, Cuba or whatever, like different dialects are going to have different interpretations. I was trying to, one of my friends, she had just gotten this certification. So I said, oh, it would be great if I could say, that's awesome. And, you can do it. That's what I wanted to say. That's awesome. You can do it. Oh, look, there's my little thumbs up.
Oh, look at that. I didn't know we could do that on here.
Neither. So, but that's up. You can do it. So for anybody who's listening, when I did my thumb up, it ended up putting a little thumbs up bubble here on the screen.
A like bubble.
Yeah, like bubble. So, but yeah, so I looked at it and I said, well, let me put it in ChatGPT and Google Gemini and see what it comes up with. And both of them came up with something different. So then I put it in Claude, it came up with something different. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait, how are there 3 different ways that this can be said in Spanish? So then I took one way and put it into the other and said, well, why didn't you say this way? And it was like, well, that's from this region, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, so I say all that to say it could very well be a difference between the interpretation based on who was interpreting it and their intention.
Correct. Now, I do have a question. Are Christians the only ones, or are people who believe in Jesus Christ?
Okay.
Are they the only ones that are going out and trying to get people to bring them in? Because I feel like Muslims only do that if they are like the Nation of Islam Muslims. I don't feel like there's somebody who is from the Far East that has a hijab and everything are saying, no, you shouldn't be Christian. That is a sin. You need to come over here and understand like how Islam is and how Muslim is. I've never seen a Buddhist be like, no, you need to sit down, have your little prayer, do your little prayer beads and stuff like that. I've never seen that. I've never seen anybody Jewish ever do that. I've never seen anybody. It's all about white Jesus and bringing people to white Jesus.
Well, Jehovah's Witnesses do, and I don't know what their whole.
But they still believe in Jesus.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, so. That's what I'm saying. It's like all the belief.
It's more. So you think it's more Jesus than it is? Because the way that I understood it too is that, okay, so for Christian, it's Jesus. For Catholics, it's Mary.
It's Mary, yeah.
And because it's Hail Mary, full of grace.
But I don't know no Catholics that just going around and be like, no, you shouldn't go this.
And the Jewish, actually, I will say this. For Jewish, they do when you want to marry someone Jewish.
Correct.
So they are, they're like, okay, well, you have to be Jewish.
But that's for marriage, not just a random person.
No, but I'm just answering that they do, but just in certain situations. And I do know the same for Muslims from my 90-day fiance watching, that a lot of times the parents want their child to marry another Muslim so the grandkids can be raised as Muslims. So if you come in with other ideologies or none at all, they're like, okay, well, we really want our grandchildren to be Muslim. So we would prefer if you converted to, being a Muslim, and therefore, we know that this is going to continue with our grandkids and our
family dynamic. But I've never seen anybody of a different religion that does not follow Jesus try to get somebody to follow them. I have not seen that. Like I said, besides the Nation of Islam.
Yeah.
Besides the Nation of Islam, I have not.
I don't know.
Or whatever the Israelites, Israelites. It's another group.
Black Israelites.
Black Israelites. Like, besides them, I don't know any other religion. Like, and I've been around a whole bunch of religions.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever trying to get me to be Buddhist. Nobody's ever tried to get me to be Jewish. I've had some Manischewitz, though.
Oh, interesting.
Very, very sweet.
Okay.
Too sweet.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah, I don't know. That's a very observant point. I have no clue. I've never paid attention. And I've traveled all over the world. Like, even when I was in Muslim countries, no one ever tried in Dubai or Abu Dhabi or Egypt or anywhere. Now in Egypt, I will say you heard the prayers over the loudspeakers throughout the day. So like that part of it, and just knowing that it was sacred time, but it wasn't like somebody was forcing you to do something, like, oh, you're here, so you must whatever. Now you do have to come I guess you have to be respectful of the religion when, especially, you're going to visit the mosque, because like, I know for us, you could not show a strand of hair. Like, you had to have everything covered. You had to have your arms to your, down to your ankles covered, your legs down to your ankles, and your wrists and all of that. I was saying ankles, and I'm doing this. But yeah, and the men could come in any kind of way they want.
Yeah, but that also is, you are going into a holy temple,
right,
of that religion.
Yes. So you're being respectful of it. Yeah, you're being respectful of it. But as you are doing it, you're like, wait a minute. But the guy just walked in with shorts on, a t-shirt, and flip-flops, and he's going into a holy temple. And the women have to cover everything but their face, their hands, and their feet, because they said women are a temptation to men. And therefore, if you go in there looking any kind of way, you are going to redirect the men's attention from their purpose of being there to you. So they're like, no, we can't have them. And I was like, so men don't tempt women, only women tempt men.
Only women. But then that would make me think about what you were talking about before, where you were just like, men see it as a challenge. So therefore, if you were covered up, it ain't no challenge. Your eyes are pretty. So I would love to see what's underneath.
Well, you could see the whole face. You could see the whole face, but that was it. Like, it was face, hands, and feet. That's it. Feet, because I don't know. I think our feet might have even needed to be covered. They could have on flip-flops. So that was that. I have to admit, that of my entire trip was the most frustrating, and where I felt things were feeling a little behind, because I was like, "Are you?"
But Mennonites are like that.
They can come up in here any kind of way, like any way whatsoever. And because at first you're just like, well, it's a religious temple, so of course. And my assumption was the men come in as respectful as well, and have on, even if it's linen pants and a t-shirt, no, you can throw on anything. Didn't matter. And I was like, wow. But yeah, and the other part that was a little different too is that when in the areas where the men really, control everything and more dominant and rule more so than you would think, even in America, is that when it came to shopping, it was all about the men. It was you would go down streets and you would see like 10 places men could buy stuff and then a woman's spot. And then
women didn't work. Women don't work. Yes. Women are property. You are here to clean my house. Well, this is my house. You have my children. You don't even go to school.
Yeah, I guess. And the men also wear a lot of the outfits that look like the dresses, because they're wearing those types of outfits. And I will say this, they are more embracive of each other. So, like how you'll see in the Italian families, and they'll kiss each other and all of that kind of stuff. You'll see men kiss each other. You'll see men hold hands. You'll see men hug each other walking down the street. It's like, you're my brother. Like, come on, brother, let's go. Like that type of thing. So that was different because I'm like, gosh, in America, that is so like, I'm sure people who come from there here are like, why is everybody so separated? Like, why is guys, like you barely have guys that even hang out with each other, feel comfortable eating dinner together.
It's like, why is your kneecap touching my kneecap? Like, you got to put, there's no reason we sitting side by side. Your kneecap.
I need to have a seat in between us.
We got a gap. We got to space it out. Like,
And like, there you have men holding hands walking down the street. So it's just, okay. And it's not in a sexual way. It's just like, this is my brother. This is my friend.
Yes, like this is love. I haven't seen you. I miss you and I love you. So come on, let's go this way. Go look at these lady over here and see if they'll show us a little wrist action. Can
I get a little elbow action?
Yeah, right. Can I pay to see your kneecaps? Oh, that's what their OnlyFans is. Let me pay to see your kneecaps. That would be dope if that wasn't OnlyFans or something like that. I'm just saying that would be dope because then it's like women would be making money without even showing a bunch of sexuality. It's like, I will show you my big toe for $2,000.
But the thing is, in there, because they've been ingrained that way, it feels extremely taboo to do. So it would be sexual in their mind because it's like, I'm showing my knee to a strange man that I don't know for money. Oh my God, this is like, I'm going to burn in everywhere.
This is not my father and this is not my brother. Like, they can't see this.
Yeah, exactly.
Only my blood can see this. Like, my uncle can't see it, but my dad and my brother, they can see this. But
crazy. We have gone all around. This is
but it was religion based podcast.
Yes, for sure.
Shout out KevOnStage for everything because he doesn't done anything but be himself and talk about himself. But what happens? The bigger that you get, the more stumbling blocks that you're going to have. And your thing is to keep pressing on. And that is what's happening. Like KevOnStage has now gotten richer than the part when I said I want to be KevOnStage rich. Remember when I said that? Mm-hmm. I said how he is now. And now he's surpassed that. And I'm like, see, I don't want my face out there that much.
You don't want to be that rich where people will talk about you and know about you. And
like everybody knows you now. You was just in the small, you had a whole show called The Back of the Church, the Back of Pew Tour.
Mm-hmm.
The Back Pew Tour. So it was like only people in the church community and the Black community would know who you were.
Right.
Now you got everybody who knows who you are. And I'm like, see, that's too much. They pump me brakes.
And some of the people, some Black people and some people in the church still don't know who he is. So there's that. It's not like Tabitha Brown famous.
He's almost there.
He's almost there. He's almost there.
After his tour, not tour, he's going to be there because now his face is everywhere.
Yeah. And his new comedy thing that he has coming out because that looks funny with the airport.
Yeah. The airport looks good. He also did church. He's still doing churchy, I think. Or no,
he has one with the hospital.
Yeah, the hospital. He got the couples therapy one.
Oh yeah, safe space or something like that.
Yeah. So he's out there. He's out there.
That's hilarious.
And it's like he strived to get what he wanted. Now he's gotten it. But then once you get to the top, everybody's eyes are on you because they're looking up at you. So therefore, it's going to be more.
Next week, I'm going to talk about them again because I want to talk about Two Ball Brothers.
It's not Two Ball Brothers. It's just the Ball Brothers.
Oh, the Ball Brothers. Okay,
yes,
sorry.
I love them. I watch them.
That TV show. And
Tony Baker reminds me of me.
Oh, Tony Baker's a nut. Yeah.
Well, like his stand-up reminds me of me. I'll have to send it to you so you can see it. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds good. All right, y'all. Well, that is an hour that we spent talking about
KevOnStage and Religion.
KevOnStage and Religion. So we're going to have an interesting time coming up with the title for this one. So
it's going to be called KevOnStage and Religion.
You heard it here, folks. All right. On that note, everybody have an amazing day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.